Hi everyone, how are you doing today? I want to wish you all a wonderful Mabon. And yes, I said I would do this live, but there has been some things that have come up, so I'm going to have to do this pre-recorded. But if you do have any questions about Mabon or just any questions in general about our Sabbats as we go along, please ask them. You can leave them here, you can post them on the page, or you can send me a message privately if that's better for you. Now, as we are approaching Mabon, which is our fall or autumn equinox, some people like to call it. Here in the South, we mostly refer to it as fall, but this is an equinox. So I want to cover not only what this means as a Sabbat, but I also want to cover what this means for our earth. Because many people don't realize that the impact that these equinoxes have upon our earth and what's going on at this time. So I'm going to, and I did make myself notes so I could read them and keep up because, we always forget things or leave something out. And I don't want to do that. I want to give you all the information I can, and that way you can be well informed. So first, like I said, I want to talk about the equinoxes, and the Mabon is normally celebrated around the 21st, but now the fall equinox will happen this year on Monday, September the 23rd, around 3:23 a.m. And then the sun will be moving into the sign of Libra at 3:50 a.m. and those are Eastern time, okay? The northern hemisphere will be moving into fall, while the southern hemisphere will be moving into spring. Now, what this means is this is a celestial event that marks the transition that is called an equinox. And it happens twice a year, like I said, between March 21st and September 21st. Now, many people want to know what exactly is an equinox, and I will cover the Sabbat, the Mabon meaning of this in just a moment. But like I said, I want to cover what is happening with our Earth first. Now, as many of us know, the Earth moves in two different ways. First, the planet spins on its polar axis, and that is a line through the North and South poles. Now, once every 24 hours, it causes the alternation between day and night, right? Now, secondly here, it also moves in its orbit around the sun once every 365, I think it's 0.25 days, causing the annual cycle of seasons. The equinox occurs when these two motions intersect. Our Earth is really big, and its mass is it's enormous, and it's very powerful. So the poles always point in the same direction. This is what we got to remember here. Now, although a major earthquake can cause tiny wobbles in the axis, the Earth's motion around the sun has absolutely no effect on the direction the poles are pointing, which has very important consequences for the Earth's seasons. Astronomers mark the positions of objects in the sky relative to the Earth's poles of motion. The most important line is the celestial equator, which divides the sky into the northern and southern hemispheres. Now, this tilt makes it appear to observers on Earth's surface that the sun is moving across the sky at an angle to the celestial equator. Now, this is called the ecliptic as well, because eclipses happen upon this line as well. Now, twice a year, the sun crosses that celestial equator, moving from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere, or vice versa. Now, these two crossings are very important for us here on Earth because that is what marks the change in the direction of the sun's rays, or how the sun rays fall upon the Earth. Specifically, on Monday, the 23rd, the sun will move from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. It will pass overhead everywhere along the Earth's equator on that day. And the sun will rise exactly in the east and set exactly in the west. Day and night will also be roughly the same equal length. Now, equinox is derived from the Latin, meaning equal night. Now, after Monday, the sun will shine more on the southern half of our planet and less on the northern half, which means it'll be summer down. It'll begin the growing season in the southern hemisphere, and it will begin our fall season in the northern. So summer will be over for us in the northern hemisphere, and fall has arrived. Winter will be over in the south, and then spring begins. Now the sun will continue on its path southward for the next 3 months, reaching its southernmost point on December 21st, which is the winter solstice for us here in the northern hemisphere. This is when the days become shorter, the nights become longer, and the temperatures colder during this 3-month period. And this is all as a result of the sun being south of the celestial equator. Now, it's always important to remember that this is a part of the cycle of Earth. And after the winter solstice, the sun will start moving north again, which means spring will be on its way to the northern hemisphere. Now, I hope you all understand that. I hope you can grasp that. Let me get me a drink of water really quick. It's relatively quite easy, but again, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask me. You can, like I said, you can send me an email. You can ask me on the group, whatever you would like. Just, you're more than welcome to let me know about that. Now, let's talk a little bit about Mabon. Now, let me pull this up really quick. I do not have this together. Now, we all know that the 21st marks Mabon, and for this year, like I just said, the fall equinox will actually be on the 23rd of September, approximately around 3:23 a.m. Now, this is known as a pagan harvest festival. It is a time the light and day are equal, when the great goddess and the god are equal. We are entering into the sign of Libra, and we will enter in the sign of Libra, like I said, at 3:50 a.m. Eastern Time on the 23rd. And this is a time of balance. Equinoxes are an astronomical point as the Earth wobbles on its axis slightly. It occurs when the sun crosses the equator, like I just stated, the celestial equator there, as it descends south. After Mabon, the darkness will be greater than the day, and this is just the end of the vine month and the beginning of the ivy month. At this time, many of us may be under great stress with different situations. But this is normal with change as we are entering into a new season or a new cycle. Many of those that are sensitive to energies can be under great stress at this time because it is a time of great change. We are feeling this shift. So not only is the earth shifting and we can feel this, we are shifting inside as well. But this, like I said, is normal with change. Now, many find this quite ironic because it's supposed to be a time of balance because we just entered the sign of Libra, right? But remember, to get that balance, we have to release what is no longer needed, those things weighing us down, blocking us, and we have to work at balancing what is left. Now, many of you might have or might not have heard of the tree calendar by Robert Graves. Now, referring to this tree calendar by Robert Graves, the vine, V-I-N-E, the vine, and the ivy are the only two of the month trees which grow spirally. And the spiral, particularly the double spiral, winding and returning, is a universal symbol of reincarnation. The bird of the autumn equinox is the swan, which is another symbol of immortality of the soul. At this Sabbat, it was not always celebrated by the ancient Celts. It wasn't until the Roman influence that they began celebrating this day. The autumn equinox represents harvest season. And at this time, the ancient Celts were very busy clearing fields. They were preparing the animals, getting ready for the winter months and ahead for the survival of their clans, their family, their people. They were working hard at this time clearing those fields. And if you live in a rural area, or if you ride out to the country, so to speak, you can see the farmers doing this now. If you grow your own garden, you can see that, you're doing this now as well. It is a time of harvest. It is a time of abundance as well. Mabon comes from the Welsh mythology literature from a prominent figure son of Modron. Coming from the Romano-British god Mepanos, his name means great sun. It is the time of year we look back over the previous year and we celebrate our harvest and all that has come into fruition. Lunasa was the first harvest of the grain, and at the fall equinox, it is our second harvest festival. The harvest of the animals, as this is when we give thanks to our Mother Earth for our bounty. At this time, we are acknowledging the chilly nights, which symbolize the death of the old sun god as he returns to the Earth Mother. As we feast upon the fruits such as apples, pomegranates, root vegetables, we are seeing the goddess make her descent into the crone. As we are celebrating this harvest, we are mournful over the sun god who is making his descent into the dark winter months. Returning to the goddess, we are seeing our earth goddess making the descent as well into her crone essence. We decorate our homes with apples, pine cones, corn husk, root vegetables, as well as gardening tools. The colors of this time is gold, orange, red, bronze, and rust, and candles of orange or yellow are normally used. The herbs that are highlighted during this time are yarrow, marigold, sage, saffron, chamomile, walnut leaves, rue, frankincense, sunflower, wheat, oak leaves, dried apples, and rose hips. The incense that's commonly used is sweetgrass, myrrh, pine, sage, and frankincense. The stones are amber, peridot, gold, yellow topaz, cat's eye, clear quartz, citrine, aventurine, sapphire, and amethyst. Mabon, normally called the fall equinox, like I said, is our second harvest among the Celts, and it is our harvest of the animals. It is also a cross-quarter Sabbat. Equinoxes are astronomical point as the Earth wobbles on its axis slightly, and it occurs when the sun crosses the equator and descends in the south. Now, Mabon is a time of balance and harvest. And yes, we are very busy during this time doing our harvest. But would you be surprised that Mabon isn't actually an ancient celebration at all? It is the time of the year we look back over the previous year. We celebrate our harvest and all that has come into fruition. We are gathering things, we are putting things away, our animals are separated, ones we want for breeding, ones we will slaughter for meat for our upcoming months, our winter months, during those cold, dark times. Our fields are bountiful at this time, and they are ripe for picking. We are celebrating that great bounty the Earth Mother has given us. And at this time, we are acknowledging the chilly nights. It is a symbolized time for the God, the sun God, as he is returning to the Earth Mother. Now, like I said, this is the second harvest of 3, as we have Lunasa, Mabon, and Samhain. But, like I stated earlier, it wasn't an ancient holiday. I can't imagine that our people would have a really big time to celebrate at this time because they were so busy with their chores. But Mabon is a holiday that was incorporated into modern-day Wiccan practices, with the term being first coined by Eden McCoy. And even though it's not an ancient holiday, the story and myth of the young god Mabon is very similar to what is going on during this time. It seems appropriate, according to myth, to be celebrating the young god as he has withered into nothingness during the dark half of the year and will completely go away and then be reborn at the winter solstice to the goddess. Now, this is the time at Yule. This is when the goddess returns to the earth long enough to get her lover so she can become pregnant with him again. So during the fall equinox, it is when the god and the goddess are equal. And there are only 2 times of the year that the goddess and god are equal, and that is the spring equinox and that is the fall equinox. So, Mabon is a time of harvest. It is our animal harvest, and it is a time that we are getting ready and getting prepared to move into our long, cold, dark winter months. Now, Mabon is not normally celebrated by a lot of witches, but it is mainly celebrated by Wiccan witches. Now, that is a brief overview of Mabon, and I hope you enjoyed that. Like I said, if you have any questions, please let me know. And it's always a good thing to set. And you may not know how to do, a ritual or anything like that, and that's fine. But the way that you can honor this Sabbath is to sit and think of what you are reaping now. Look over this past year, see what has worked, what hasn't worked, where you are very fertile in, and what is just, withering away and dying. In astrology, it is right on time with this as well. I hope you listen to my show on Thursday night because I do talk about this a lot. I will be putting updates on this whole topic as well, because I feel that astrology and what happens within our planets is a direct result of what is going on here on our Earth. Going through astrology and walking the signs of the zodiac is right in line with walking the wheel of the year. I have found this so connected so many times, and even now in our of what's going on in our stars and what's going on here in our planet, in our cycles, they're right in sync with each other. So I will be putting updates on that, and I will be trying to keep you all informed about the energies that's happening with our Earth and what's happening at this time. But for you, sit and write down what happened this year. What are you grateful for? What is just no longer needed? What is it that you need to release? What is stagnant in your life? What is growing in your life? It is a great time of self-reflection, and on this path, it is about self-reflection. It is about bettering yourself from day to day. You're not in competition with anyone but yourself, right? You want to be better today than you were yesterday, and so forth. But as you walk this path, you're going to see some of those things from past no longer work for you. You're going to have to incorporate a lot of newness in your life. This is a time that you are having to come out of your comfort zones, and you're having to step into a newness of some sort. I know that many of you see the meme, and it has the little circle, and it says, magic happens here, like way over here beside the circle. And that's the truth. In order for us to truly appreciate change, we have to be willing to step out into the unknown. And this comes with trusting yourself. And the way that you can trust yourself is reevaluate your life. See what's really going on. Listen to your intuition. When we step out into the unknown, it's very scary, because we have that feeling of, I don't know what's around the corner waiting for me. And our perspective either classifies it as good or bad. And sometimes those bad things happen to us so those good things can happen. And many times it is those bad things that happen to us that force us out of our comfort zones and force us out of stagnation so that we can have that personal growth that we are wanting. So I hope you all have a wonderful Mabon fall equinox, and I hope you enjoy the shift of going into a time of balance. For those of you that are very sensitive, I'm pretty sure you're feeling this. I'm pretty sure you're feeling frustration. I'm pretty sure you're feeling a little off of sorts and just kind of not really yourself. Just hang in there. Keep on pushing through. Listen to your intuition. If it gets out of hand, go take a walk out in nature. It's good to get barefooted and walk on the ground. Let yourself ground. And being in nature is really good because it helps you just separate yourself from everything else. Unplug yourself from the computer, the phones, all the demands. Take a moment for yourself. Take some deep breaths and really learn to feel your breathing. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time. Merry part until we merry meet again.